I'm Pastor Rob Johnson,
Hey, I'm Pastor Lexi.
and we're here today to talk to you about fake it till you make it. Is there some merit to it or not? Usually, we've come in the past, as you know, in the past we've talked about calling versus purpose, and last week we gave you uh, ways to apply how to use your purpose through your calling, and the week before we talked a little bit about why calling is not your purpose, and purpose is not your calling. There are two different things, and how to implement them simultaneously so that there can be a robust person of who you are and your purpose. But this week, we want to look at why fake it till you make it is or is not a
Is
good
it?
thing to do. Let's talk about it a little bit. Let's unpack fake it till you make it. When you think about fake it till you make it, what is some of the things that you're thinking about?
Well, one, I think about just how so many of us say it or have said it. I think about not only, I'll get to the specific phrase in a moment, but I'm also thinking about just in general how we say a lot of things that we don't really know the truth,
The actual meaning.
yeah, the meaning and
actual
what we're
meaning to the word.
actually saying. Like there's a meaning we think that we think that it is, or the way it's been communicated for however long, but it's not the actual meaning if you sit there and actually break down, the words in the phrase. So fake it till you make it. I have to be honest, it's something that I've said numerous times.
Okay.
Particularly in early on in my career, as I was, training people, leading people. I worked in a setting where I was training young people and training them for jobs and things like that. And, of course, when we're young, we're who we are and all of that, and we want to express who we are. And the job in the workplace, they have some certain workplaces have dress requirements and things like that. So we would talk to the youth and say things like, well, you may not want to wear a suit, but, fake it until you enjoy wearing suits,
right.
That fake it till you make it,
right.
Kind of thing. But, as of late, and when I say as of late, I mean the last, couple of years, I started to think about that whole fake it till you make it. And I'm like, is that really what we want to communicate?
Yeah, I think the first thing that you brought up was how you can say something and the words have different meanings. Like we used to sing, our choir used to sing this song, I Am Sold Out. Right?
Yeah.
And so when we would sing the song, we were singing the song, I Am Sold Out, my mind is made up, right? But every time I sang it, I was thinking, why am I singing? I'm like I feel like I'm a sellout. You understand? You understand what I'm saying? It's like, I'm singing up here as loud as I can that I'm a sellout, right? And so I know that the words in the song have different connotations, but what happens is, so there's some wording that's going on, there's some content that's going on in there, but fake it till you make it. First of all, the word fake means something that is not genuine or is counterfeit. And so when we first kind of look at the overall thought and the overall word itself, fake it till you make it, when you think about non-genuine and counterfeit, to me, I think about Satan.
Absolutely. I mean, because he's the ultimate counterfeit,
right?
And anything that is not of God is counterfeit, right? It's the fake. And so when we're saying that, we want to really be careful. I think we're treading lightly. I always say it may start out to be kind of this genuine thing. Yeah, I'm just trying, I want to be a business person, so I'm going to dress the part, I'm going to look the part, I'm going to talk the part. But then you can cross a line and begin to, to say that you offer services or do things that you don't really do, but you're saying it in the name of fake it till you make it.
Or you may actually be in that industry and in that position, but you've only did things A through C, but you're saying you've done things D through Z.
Right.
And you've never done those things before, and people are coming to you expecting quality in the essence of what they're expecting from you, and they really can't expect from you because you've never done it.
Absolutely. So then it's like, well, the Bible says, speak those things that are not
my goodness.
as if they were. So
see, that I think that's the thing that kind of gets me, because for me it's like, okay, speak as though it were, speak the things that are not as though they were. So when I'm saying I'm going to be a multi-billion-dollar builder, and I call myself a multi-billion-dollar builder, then that's me speaking into existence, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm interacting with people and I'm saying to them that I've built $1 billion worth of builds, then that would be false.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, and then here's the first thing. My thought is, okay, so you talked about kind of teaching the youth, you know, hey, let's just say, just fake the feeling until you actually have the feeling. So start dressing up for work. And so are we really teaching them not to be themselves? What's your thought on that, though? I mean, after you've done it over 20 some years now, what's your thought?
I think it's a fine line, because I think if I were to go back, and there were occasions where I actually did say some of this, though, because I wasn't always in line with what everybody was teaching youth. But now I would look at, okay, what is it that they are actually trying to do? What industry are they trying to get in? Because, you know, people would just blanket say, oh, you need to dress like this, you need to look like this, you need to talk like this, you need to, you know, and you know, now I'm like, no, not really. True. You know what I'm saying? Now, you know, don't get me wrong. There are certain industries that you get into, or certain workplaces, I should say, and not even just industries, but individual workplaces that you go to, and they may have a standard, right? They may have, you know, a certain way you're to dress and all of that kind of stuff. And so the other thing I would tell youth is, if you decide you're going to take a job at this place that has a certain standard,
then keep that standard.
Then you got to keep that standard.
Definitely. That's great
advice.
You
agree to, right? But getting back to this whole
fake it until you make it. Right.
You know, there are ways that you can be real at every level of whatever it is that you're doing, whether you are, you know, wanting to be known as a business person and an entrepreneur, or whether you want to be known as a teacher or whatever.
Right.
There are ways that at every level you can be real with who you are while speaking those things that are not as if they were, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to, you know, again, tell someone that you can do X, Y, and Z, or your business offers X, Y, and Z, when you don't even have the resources. And I say resources because it may not have to be you yourself, right? Mm-hmm. You can always say, I can contract someone in to do X, Y, Z. And so if you have that ability, then by all means. But if you can't do it, you don't have the ability to bring someone in to do it, you know, then you can't be saying that this is what you do. You know, that truly is faking it.
At that point, I think it's actually, audience, I think it's a lie. What do you say? Type in if
faking
you think
it is.
Faking it till you make it as a lie or not. I say that it's a lie, but here it is. So you're speaking it as though it were, because it's really not. And so now the question that I'm going to have a youth ask me, is that really lying?
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying is you have to be mindful of expressing who you are and where you are right now.
Right.
And then expressing where you're going. The example you used earlier, you know, say I'm a multi-billion-dollar builder, right? Or I am a multi-million-dollar, you know, whatever. Because people have like these affirmations and things that we speak or whatever. It's okay to talk about where you're going, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you want to go. But make sure that when people are asking you specifically about, you know, who you are and what you're doing, that, you know, you're clear about, this is where I'm going, right? Because people want to know where you're going, right? But they also want to know where where you are.
And here's the thing. If you're not truthful with people, like for instance, when I'm truthful with people and I express to them, hey, I'm at this spot, I notice that people are more resourceful to me. So they give me help. So they may say, you know what, I appreciate that you let me know that you haven't done this, but I feel that you can. So I'm going to invest in you so that you can do this. But the other piece is they may know people who are further along than I am who are willing to mentor me. And so what I've learned is just not to fake it till you make it, but to actually express where you are in the process. So for instance, when I first started building, I started in simple remodels and bathrooms, basements, and kitchens, right? And then I would do things like floors and painting and some simple stuff. And then I kind of jumped up to additions, and then I jumped up to building homes, and now I'm up to building subdivisions. Well, I'm in my first rotation of building subdivisions. So if somebody comes to me and say, how is subdivisions going? I wouldn't be able to tell them because underwriting hasn't finished doing everything it needs to do. But I'm a subdivision builder at this moment. And so now it's like, well, certain things that people think that you would have in place as a subdivision builder who builds 120 homes, I don't yet have in place. Like I don't have a large office with staff. Some of the things that still lags behind for me is my paperwork. And so now I have to be honest with people. And guess what happens? The person will say to me at the bank, oh, you don't have a person who does paperwork? And then the very next day I get a call. I just had this young lady come and she just got let go. And she can do paperwork and she can do accounting. Can you use this person? And so for me, because I was able to be genuine in the place where I was at the particular time when I was at that place, now I'm receiving the help that I need and everything comes together. Yesterday, a quick story, I was going to pick up something from one of my clients. The Lord told me to go to go to Home Depot. And so one of the things that I don't know about building is what's called the wet work. Now, if you don't know what wet work is, it's kind of like the sewage that goes under the whole subdivision and how that connects to the city sewer. Well, there's this 80-plus-year-old. His name is Brother Maycott. I saw him in the store. And guess what he said? How's everything going with your business? And I didn't even know that he knew that I was a builder. So that I was kind of impressed because he was kind of like a superhero to us growing up, right? And so then he said, well, you know, I got the backhoe, the bucket, I got the excavator, I got the thing, and I do everything to put the roads in and the wet package. And I said, look at God, because I was just expressing to someone that I needed a mentor in that area, and I had paid someone and put them on retainage. And now here is someone else saying that they can help me basically at cost without even retaining them.
But had you been faking it until you
right?
It,
oh, brother, right? Yeah, I got subdivisions going, and things are going real good. He's like, okay, good.
Yeah, he would have missed out on that connection, right? And so, how many of us have missed out on connections because we've been faking it until we make it, right? We've been pretending, to be, rather than doing really what the Bible says. Yes, we can speak those things that are not as though they were, meaning I can express where it is that I want to go and where I'm going. This is where I'm going.
Most definitely.
Right? This is where I'm going, or this is where God has called me to go. But in the meantime, this is where I'm at, right? I'm in the process of, it's going to happen, right? But right now, here's where I'm at.
And here's the thing. What I like about faith it till you make it versus fake it till you make it is that when you're in a particular place, you're able to self-evaluate how you get to your next step. And a lot of people who fake it till they make it, in my opinion, they don't have those self-evaluative tools that you need to use in order to kind of evaluate yourself and say, you know what, I'm over here, I'm not over here.
Mhm.
And then you can decide what your next steps are based on understanding realistically where you are.
Yeah.
And then the other piece is there is a world standard. You know, if I come and tell you I'm gonna build a Taj Mahal, but I'm building the house of cards, there's a big difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so the world has a standard, and you have to kind of know how to not only evaluate yourself, but you kind of have to know how to evaluate yourself based on what the standards are, and or surpass those standards.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And so as you're trying to walk in your purpose, right? And you are, working in a calling that you've chosen.
Yes.
And okay, I see that you have this big vision. This is what it looks like or whatever. But right now you're here. Maybe you're even like, I don't even know how to even, get in this thing. If I'm not at the end stage, what do I say, right? But I say that at every level, you can be real on every level, right? So case in point, someone will say, well, I want to teach people about basket making, whatever it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not, known as a basket maker or whatever, or I didn't go to, now you don't have to go to school for this, but just follow me here. I didn't go to school for basket making. I didn't go to school for that. I don't have the license for that or whatever yet. There are still levels, that you can demonstrate expertise on, right? So I would tell people, look, it's nothing for you to gather 3 or 4 people in your home and share your knowledge about XYZ, right? Or show a couple of people how to do something, XYZ, as you are
progressing,
making those steps to get to where you want to go, whether it's the license or a degree or whatever it is, or you're just wanting to get to another level. There's a way to be real about where you are on every level while you're getting to that space or the place where the thing that you've spoken that you've not yet realized.
And so if you're just joining us, we're talking for the last month, we've been talking about purpose versus calling. And we gave definitions on that, what calling is, what purpose is. But then we said calling definitely is not a purpose, right?
Right.
And you can go back on our Facebook page and see our particular sermons on calling versus purpose. You can also see our practicums on how to implement your purpose and how to stay hot in that. But here's the bigger piece. And I want to talk a little bit about overshooting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes you can find yourself in a field where you're successful, but you don't need to be in that field. Can you talk about that? Can you just talk about that a little bit? This whole process of overshooting. And then I think it's prevalent, particularly when you fake it till you make it.
Well, are you getting at like, because I'm good at something doesn't necessarily mean that that's where I was called to?
Yes. And definitely it's not where you can express your purpose.
Right. So for many of us, right, there are a lot of things that we can do very well. A lot of things that we can do well. There are a lot of things I can do well, right? And I remember even getting caught up in my younger adult days, getting caught up in just doing so busy, doing a lot of good things just because I was good at it, right? Or you're good at leading this, so come and lead this. Or you're good at organizing these people, come and do that. You're good at, these papers, do that, and I would be like, yes, I'll do it. Yes, I'll do it. Yes, I'll do it. Right. But it really was, even though I was great at it, I was not on the path of fulfilling my purpose.
Yes.
And what it ended up doing really was getting very overwhelming. It was stressful.
Burnout is the word that comes. Yeah,
absolutely. Burnout, because when you're called to do something, when your purpose
to do something.
When you understand what your
Yes.
purpose is, let me put it that way. When you understand what your purpose
She's
is.
being very intentional with her
Yes,
words.
I'm
right
very
now.
intentional with my
Yes.
words. When you understand what your purpose is, and you begin walking in it, it gives you an energy like no other, right? It's not to say that you don't have days where you're tired, but when you understand what your purpose is and you're walking in and you understand who has given you the purpose,
Well, that's
right?
powerful.
And that everything having to do with that purpose comes from them, the strength to do it, the wisdom to do it, the will to do it, it all comes from God, then there isn't burnout.
Matter of fact, in my opinion, like when I've been in the center of my purpose, people are like, you kind of doing too much. and it appears like that to them because maybe they've not been in the center of their purpose. Maybe they don't understand how much energy it gives me when I'm in the middle of my purpose. But for me, I can wake up and do that thing almost 18 hours a day with a minimum amount of sleep and just enjoy what I'm doing.
Because it gives you energy. And so if it's something that's outside of your purpose,
right,
or not in alignment with your purpose, or if it's some type of calling that you've chosen that's not in alignment with your purpose, it's going to suck energy out of you.
Oh, energy suckers.
And so if it's sucking energy out of you, that's not where you're supposed to be.
And that's probably one way to find out where you're not supposed to be, if it's sucking energy. One of the things that I did was I worked in the family counseling field as a therapist. And what I found is that a lot of times the institutions that were hiring me to work with some of the children and youth that I was working with, they wanted the youth not to be healed. They wanted them to stay kind of wherever they were on the campus that I was working or in the social services situation that I was working with. And when I would say, it's time for the youth to go back to their own homes or work on those things within the particular situation that they left so that they can actually implement what I taught them, they got mad at me. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times I had to find out that my success and my purpose to create success for those individuals that I was serving was something different than the monetary things that were being paid to my company that made them successful. So I even had to know what the standard was. And then a lot of times that particular thing burnt me out and I end up leaving that field. But
yeah, absolutely. And so I didn't want to interrupt your thought, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna get back to
Yeah. But getting back to as it relates to overshooting your calling. And so sometimes you can tell if you've overshot is, first of all, you find yourself in a situation of something that you don't like, place that you don't like. You're getting drained or burnt out very quickly, and you're not, above all things, you're not in a position to express what your purpose is. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I was telling myself 2 weeks ago is when I asked our children here in the house, hey guys, clean up your room. Well, if they come in my room and they see that my room is not clean, then guess what? Then it kind of becomes oxymoronic for me to ask them to clean up the room. I know that I have more responsibility than them, but I try to keep the same responsibilities. And I'm saying to you, sometimes your calling can take you on a path where you can't freely express your purpose because there are things that you can't really say because of where the calling has taken you.
Yeah, so you have to be very mindful that you're not faking it on that end, right? But yeah, so at the end of the day, the term "fake it until you make it" really is not, a Christian thing.
I don't think
to say.
Well, we've said it already, and that's that fake is to not be genuine.
Yes, it means counterfeit.
And so, to me, that kind of speaks to Satan.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And we want to, we can just use the words that God have given us in the Bible, speak those things that are not as if they were.
That's correct.
And in doing that, that's not lying about something because you're not pretending to be something that you're not or someone that you're not. Mm-hmm. But you're merely saying you have faith, and this is why we say faith it until you make it. You have faith that this is where this
you
thing
want to
is
be.
going. This is where I want to be. This is where.
Because in faith, that there is the essence of working towards something.
Faith
And
without
then,
works is dead.
yes, and then there's hope. There's this hope of where you're going to go. And so if you're working toward that direction that you want to move in, and then you continue to have that hope, then faith is the thing that can propel you till you make it. And
Yes.
so we want to officially exchange the term fake it till you make it to
faith it until you make it. Because the other thing piece too, as Christians, what faith it says is that we have faith in our Creator to get us to where He said He was going to take us.
Right.
We have faith in Him, and everything that we need in order to get there, we can find in Him. We don't have to know all of the steps in between. We don't have to know all the answers, all the how, or anything like that. But we trust that God is going to do what He says He will do. And so therefore, we're going to faith it until it's manifested.
So it's official. Join us tomorrow when our sermon is faith it until you make it.
Are you going to do that?
It's official. I'm changing my sermon for tomorrow. Faith it until you make it, because the Lord has just downloaded it to be what you need to hear. And so I'll be sharing that with you tomorrow at noon. Join us tomorrow at noon. If you haven't, you'll miss out. If you're not local to the Ypsilanti, Michigan area, feel free to join us here on Facebook at Church One Ypsi. We look forward to hearing from you. Any comments, you can contact us through this site. We also love praying with you, and we also love having contact with you. So don't hesitate. Also, don't hesitate to give. You can give to us at Church One, Church One. $Church One, or you can give to us at what's the Zelle?
Church1md@gmail.com. All right. So either Cash App, the $Church One, or through Zelle, Church1md@gmail.com. You can do PayPal that way too. The PayPal email address is the same, Church1md@gmail.com. But again, we want to make sure, connect with us if you want to stay up with, what we're up to, what we're going to be teaching or preaching, or, just whatever we've got going on, then you'll want to connect with us, church1ypsilanti.com /connect. And Pastor Rob said earlier, if you want us to pray about something for you, then, at this link here, you can submit a prayer request. You can even request for us to call because we would love to pray with you. If you would like us to, we would love to pray with you, not just for you, but with you. So again, join us tomorrow, 12 noon, and Pastor Rob's going to be preaching. Faith it till you make it.
Faith it till you make it. Join us tomorrow. Again, also, we just want you to know that our tithe go toward the individuals in our community. So,
tithe and offering.
So, for instance, we help a single mom in our community from now until their child is out of college. And so we're in the process, because we're a new church, we're in the process of choosing that person right now. But we've committed, our global church that we're connected to have committed that to our church. And so we're looking, if you know someone who is a single mom who's specifically in the Ypsilanti area, don't hesitate to contact us. And if you have any other needs, don't hesitate to give us a call. We love you if no one's told you that. Here's a big hug to you. We'll see you later.
Jesus is Lord.